How can you make a personal story that is also useful to the readers out there? So I think this is the key.
So today we are talking on the topic of how to create online content to enhance your brand or even a personal brand. Actually, Eric has a 2 million LinkedIn followers. He will talk more about how he actually achieved that huge followings and his kind of content creation skill set. And you are actually one of the only person, right, on LinkedIn that has been featured top voice in Singapore and also top voice in China.
So LinkedIn make a special exception for me, since I write in both English and Chinese, and I have two groups of target audience.
You actually like to write underdog stories, do you?
People like to write about famous people, right? People want to take photo. If you look at social media, one of the trick is you take photo with movie stars, you take photo with politicians. So I think they already got enough people writing about them. So I do something for those people who would never see themselves on social media. I would write about my tailor. I would write about, beside hawkers, also people with people around us. Sometimes I like to give them a voice to share their story. And also there's so much we can learn from them.
Yeah. What are some of your best performing content that have worked for you, and how did you do it?
To me, like best performing content is I managed to impact lives. So last year, Singapore was on lockdown, late April. I was looking for delivery. So then I passed by this zi cha shop. Then I asked the person, I said, hey, you do delivery, because zi cha seldom do delivery. He said, yeah. I said, what's your dish that you recommend? He said, curry fish head. Curry fish head. I don't like curry. I also don't eat fish head. But I say like, this is your recommended dish, I better order. 30 minutes later, he delivered in a big container. And inside this big plastic bag has got a letter. So I read the letter, like I say, Dear Mr. Eric, during this time, your support is very important to us because now we can only rely on delivery and takeaway. So we hope you enjoy our signature dish, and we're really grateful for your support. So I was very surprised. How can a hawker print such a letter? And it's not a pre-printed, right? It has got my name on it, and it has got the dish that I ordered. What happens if I order hor fan? What is he going to say? I was pretty impressed. 6 months later, I went to visit him again. Then he reminded me, like, say, hey, Mr. Eric, during the lockdown, you order from us 3 times a week. Do you remember? I said, yeah, I still remember, because you give good service and good food. So I decided to write a post on LinkedIn. I wrote the story that I said, and I put down the photo. The way I write my content is I have a personal story, sometimes about myself, but often about other people. But I also have universal application, because on LinkedIn, people want to learn. And there are a lot of career job seeker down there. So I have a occupational hazard, in Chinese called 职业病. So every time I see people, I assess them, I judge them based on the 4 Ps. Number 1, do you take pride in your work? Number 2, do you have good products? Or if you're a banker, do you have product knowledge? Number 3, do you have the passion to serve customers? Number 4, do you keep your promise to deliver good food and high quality services in the long run? Why I took 6 months before I post, I was already very impressed on the first day, but I needed 6 months to observe him, to see whether he's still consistent with his food. 6 months later, he is still very, very passionate about his work. He still remembers me. So I wrote such an article where there's a personal story with a universal application, and I show the letter, you can see. So this story was picked up by LinkedIn New York editor. So you can imagine Americans learning about curry fish head, because when LinkedIn New York editor pushed this out, right, the whole world can read.
Do you look at pictures first? Do you find them? And is there a kind of formula? Because I think everyone thinks they can write, but not everyone can write like you.
Because when I was young, I suffered from a very serious inferiority complex. So I feel like I'm like good for nothing. I was physically weak. Like I'm the shortest in class. I think I'm like 10 kg below the average weight of those people. Then fail mathematics, fail English, little social skills. When I go to university in NUS, first year I need to take English. Isn't it embarrassing? Because I don't really believe in potential. Because when you look at me when I was, below 35, you won't think that I have any potential. So I think potential is overrated. So when I look at people, I don't look for potential. I just look for resilience, the willingness to learn. Is he passionate? And also the 4 Ps that I talk about. Does he take pride in his work? Like even the smallest tasks, got pride or not? Like what Singaporeans say, right? Got passion to serve or not? Then do you keep your promise, right? Do you have integrity? And do you have an eye for product? So this is the most powerful because personal story, no right or wrong. To make the personal story powerful is to apply universally. That means your story, is it applicable to your readers? How can you make a personal story that is also useful to the readers out there? So I think this is the key. Because if you just write personal story, it belongs to Facebook, right? I go there, I eat a very nice curry fish head, I take one photo. It doesn't belong on LinkedIn, right? But then if I write about the 4 Ps without the curry fish head, a lot of this type of tips and advice in self-help books. So those are also not very useful. And those stories, those tips and advice, they don't belong to you until you link it to yourself personally. So again, personal stories with universal applications.